Welcome to the Stop Losing Women podcast, where it's all about learning how to keep a girl like me interested for the long haul, if you think you can handle it. And now, here's your host, Harry Wilmington.
Women who have an interest in you, don't forget that you exist, regardless of what they have going on. And that's a general lesson that men need to understand, because I think sometimes we fool ourselves into thinking that a woman just got so distracted with life that she just completely forgot about us, but didn't intend to. And I have found that's typically not the case of what's going on. So I had a guy leave a comment under one of my videos. I did a video talking about how I was answering a guy's question where this guy had started dating this girl, and then she went on vacation and her communication kind of went down. And what I said in that video was that in the beginning, when you're dating somebody, just in general, when they go on vacation, they're trying to focus on the people that they're in front of. And that means that they may not talk to you as much. But I don't consider that a red flag. The important thing is, when she gets back in town, is she going to be paying attention to you and trying to go out with you? And so this guy had a question under that video to see if that situation and how that woman was lower in her response times mirrored what he's going through with a woman that claimed that she was sick. So I'm going to read his comment and answer along the way and give my thoughts and feelings about this. All right. By the way, if you guys have questions you want me to answer on the show, you can also leave comments below this video. You can also write to me at harrywilmington@gmail.com. So the question here, he says, what do you think about women's replies while being sick or claiming to be sick? I was dating this girl who was messaging me daily and initiating nearly 100% of the time. So I will say this, when you first start dating women, if you take them out a couple of times and you do a good job, you're going to find that they just naturally want to reach out more. And that's how it should be. They should be doing the majority of initiations of text, at which point you can just respond. And even then, I've never been a big fan of just trying to have a conversation just to have a conversation. You know, you as a guy on phones, your purpose of texting should be to try to get a date. So even if she hits you up initially, you should be saying, oh, hey, respond to her text and then say, hey, by the way, I'd love to see you again. Let me know if you're free on this day or this time or whatever. Like, you should always be gearing it towards trying to get a date, because we don't build rapport with women over the phone. It's not a good way to do that. So anyway, he says she went silent for a day and then messaged me saying she had to cancel an upcoming date set for 2 days later because she was feeling stressed from work and felt that she was getting sick. That's an interesting thing to think about. Like, she's thinking, now I feel something coming on. I might be sick in 3 days. And it's not that can't happen, because I recently just got over a cold, and I could definitely tell that I was starting to feel some kind of way. And based on my history of me getting sick, I kind of tell that it was coming forth. So that is a thing that can happen. It's just that story is oftentimes told by women so early on in the dating process, after a couple of dates, when it ends up not being true, that you have to look at her other actions beyond just that one, because more often than not, when a woman's putting this story forth, it's because she's losing interest. And you want to make sure that you're not fooling yourself into thinking that, oh, it's just this, because a lot of women will start to use that excuse. And if you're younger in the dating game, you won't see that. Or if you're just a guy that's hopeful and isn't thinking women would lie to you, then you wouldn't think she would do that. And they very much would. All right. Even if they're reaching out and texting all the time. And that's the thing too, even when they're doing that, if you're letting these initiations result in prolonged conversations, you never know if, like, you're eventually saying something that could be off-putting, or maybe you tell a joke when you're texting her that she doesn't quite get the joke and now she's taking it offensively, or you're just saying boring stuff. This is why I'm not a fan of being on the phone a long time with women, because you should save most of your conversation for in person. And when you talk on the phone, you lose out on that, on top of digital texting doesn't have the same emotion as when you're in her face and you're able to use inflections and give her an impression of something, or say something in a way where you can clarify it in the moment versus what she's saying or what she's thinking you're saying. But anyway, so he said that she felt like she was getting sick, and I said, no worries, and told her to let me know when she's feeling better and ready to meet up. She said she would. I'm not personally a fan of that, because I don't like putting the future texting in a woman's hands. We want her to initiate on her own, but to be like, hey, just reach out whenever. I found a lot of women just won't do that. Like, it would be better for them to say, hey, no worries, I'll reach out to you in a couple of days to check on you. Boom. Now the situation for contacting is in your control for when you reach back out to her to see if she's good enough to ask out on a date again, if that makes sense. So let's see. She said that she would reach out. Here we go. 4 days passed in silence. I then followed up today saying, hey, thinking of you. Hope you're feeling better. She messaged back, hey, thank you, and nothing further. I don't like that. I don't like when women only send 2 or 3 word texts back, because that is not a good sign. Keep in mind, women are all about communication. And so when she's lessening communication, she's saying less words in these texts, that's not a great thing. Notice she didn't send a follow-up. She didn't say, hey, thank you. How are you doing now? She didn't say, just so you know, I'm feeling better. Like, even if she wasn't completely feeling better yet, she could have said, hey, I'm almost over the bin. I'd love to see if maybe next week we could do something once I'm better. She didn't say any of that. All right. It's not good. So he says, does this fall under the same umbrella about the woman being distracted or busy, but likely still keen? Or is it more a sign of a pull away? Do women tend to act the same, sick or stressed, as they do on vacation? Right now, I am not sure what to make of the situation. So this goes back to the original opening I said of this video, which is that when women have a strong or high interest in you, they cannot forget you. All right. So this guy reached out after 4 days because he was probably thinking, well, it's been 4 days and oh my God, she probably forgot to reach back to me, or she forgot that she was supposed to text me when she got better. She didn't forget. Like, women have memories like elephants. They are not dumb. They don't, unless they have Alzheimer's, they know who you are. They know what your number is. They know that you sent a text saying to reach out to them. They're choosing not to reach out. Okay. And again, let's say for argument's sake, this woman is still sick, right? I have been with women where they got sick and they're still able to get to their phone and be like, hey, still not feeling well. We'll catch up in a couple of days. That is a courtesy text that a woman with high interest would send you. All right. This woman does not have high interest, because if she did, trust and believe, she'd be in the thought process of, I want him to know that I'm still thinking about him. I don't want him potentially going after other women. So even though I'm sick, I'm still going to reach out and be like, hey, not feeling great, but still thinking about seeing you when I get better. Something that's going to let the guy know, because she doesn't want the guy to think that she doesn't care. The fact that she doesn't care enough to reach out and do that is a bad sign. But this goes back to, again, men have this idea that women can just suddenly forget about them. And that's not possible. They have phones. They have a whole listing of you in their phone with a bunch of different messages. They know you exist. They are choosing not to reach out to you. And this can fool a lot of guys, because here's the thing. Guys are very consistent with regards to, like, if you really, really like a woman, you're thinking, okay, I'm going to show all the signs. I'm going to be reaching out all the time, all this other stuff, right? And so we think that our interest doesn't go away. Like, once we like a woman, it's very hard for us to get taken off that path. Like, she could say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, and we'll still be like, well, this is just a one-time fluke, but I'm going to do whatever, right? But so we do that for ourselves, and then we see women and think, well, if she went on 2 or 3 dates with us and had a good time and she was texting us nonstop, there's no way that's going to change. Women's emotions for you are very, very fragile in the opening stages of dating, all right? So even though she was reaching out every single day for X amount of days, all of a sudden she could, like, see a guy on a dating platform or run into an old ex-boyfriend, and suddenly it's like, oh, you don't exist. Because early on in the dating process, if her feelings are not solidified for you yet. And so you can't assume that that can't happen. You got to very much assume that as good of a job as you're doing, you took her on 2 or 3 good dates and she seemed to have a good time. That doesn't mean that when you ask her out for that 4th time, she doesn't suddenly change her mind. Like, until we get to month 3, this stuff is not solidified. So you have to look at the actions that you're getting. You contacted her. First of all, she canceled a date. And when she canceled the date, she didn't say, hey, I think I'm going to be getting sick, so let's not do this weekend. But you know what? I'm still down to see you. I'll let you know when I can see you, or let's schedule something for, 2 weeks from now when I know I'll be better for sure. Like, she didn't do any of that. And women that have high interest are very good in the preliminaries and saying, hey, I know I got to be out of town for something, or hey, something came up last minute, but I still want to see you. It's called a counteroffer. If they're not giving you a counteroffer when they cancel a date, that's a bad sign. If they're not reaching out when they said they would, that's a bad sign. If they're giving you 2 to 3 word answers and not trying to follow up beyond that, that's a bad sign. All right. So all these signs together equal a woman that's not highly interested. Because again, women that are highly interested, even if they're sick on their deathbed, they'd be like, oh, I'm about to die, but I still want you to come to the hospital to see me. Like, they will make that well known that they have interest and they want to see you. So we can't be taking these signals and being like, well, I mean, let me think of an excuse for why she wouldn't do. No, sick or not, she would have reached out. That's the bottom line. So I would say this woman is lowly interested. And so in this situation, I would not be reaching out. If anything, you told her that she should reach out when she feels better. So let's hold her to that. It's not your job to swoop in and say, hey, just want to remind you, you're supposed to contact me, because women don't need that reminder. Women that like you don't need to be reminded to contact you. And so we just wait and we see if when she gets better, if she's even sick in the first place, which is the other thing too. Again, women will lie about being sick. I've had female friends that lie to a dude about not feeling well, and then we'd be hanging out later that night just doing whatever, like not anything hookup wise, we just like hanging out because we're friends. But it's like, yeah, because they didn't really want to see that guy, and they knew that just saying, hey, I'm not interested, could result in him trying to beg her to see him or like trying to explain why they should be together, and they didn't want to hear all that. So they just came up with the, oh, I'm sick excuse, because they know a lot of guys will shut down and not question them about it. But it could very well be an excuse. And the only way you're going to know for sure is if you leave her the heck alone and see if she contacts you in the future. If she does not contact you, then you have your answer and you'll know. But either way, this is also too early of a situation to be putting all your eggs in this basket. You should still be talking to other women. If she's canceling dates because she's sick, that's fine. You should have 2 or 3 other women that you can ask out and go on a date with, because you don't owe her loyalty. Just like she doesn't owe you the truth about if she's being sick or not. So hopefully that answers your question. I don't know if it's the answer you wanted to hear, but that's the one I got. For the rest of you guys, again, if you have a question, you can write me at harrywilmington@gmail.com. You can leave a comment down below. Also go to stoplosingwomen.com. If you need help with these kind of situations, you can sign up for my newsletter, and you will get free access to my Get Girls Academy, which houses my best video courses, ebooks, audiobooks, and so much more. You can also go to the website to sign up for one-on-one coaching if your situation needs more insight from yours truly. That's all I got. I'm Harry Wilmington, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Stop Losing Women podcast. See you later, big boy.